Welcome, everybody, to yet another episode of The Devil May Crypto. What are we going to be listening on today? I'm going to be working on a little bit of Ambrosus. What is Ambrosus, you ask? I'm glad you did ask. It is one of the many supply chain logistics companies that I'll be talking about, but this is the first really one I'm going to do a video on. I think it's in a good spot. I'm a huge proponent of Wallet Chain. Wallet Chain is actually one of my top 5 cryptos that you can get at any point. Long term, ultra bullish on Wallet Chain. But Ambrosus, I really want to bring up because it's not only I'm not going to say it's second to it. It's just one of out of that ecosystem. I really like Ambrosus. I have money in Ambrosus and Wallet Chain and Modem, but this is what I'm focusing on today. It's a good project, and we'll delve into why it's a good project. But if you don't know what RFID technology is, and what it does for supply chain logistics, cryptocurrencies in the ecosystem, it's like these little tags, these little chips that are used within whatever you want to track, and it gives you information. It's not like a barcode, for example. Barcode, you have to like scan it. It doesn't have to be necessarily scanned. It doesn't have to be a laser sent out to them, but it collects data. It's pretty much it. It collects data. And what Ambrosus wants to do with it, as you can see right here on their website, is they want to combine the sensors, the blockchain technology, and smart contracts, and they want to stick to food and medicine. Wallet Chain, I think, wants to do everything. Ambrosus is kind of scoped in on food and medicine, but I'll talk a little bit about what they do, team, the Ambrosus, the token itself, and we'll go from there. But let's get started. So, mainly on this website, the second thing you're going to see is the ecosystem of Ambrosus. Let me move my head out of the way here a little bit. Distributed versatility, I guess, is what I'm blogging, in case you wanted to see. But this is mainly the website we're going to be looking through for the first portion of this. But goes over supply chain 2.0, data transformation, direct deals, distributed versatility. That's just a quick primer on what they're doing. Not super important right now. We'll delve into more, but we're just gonna talk a little bit about the website. Here is where it gets a little more specific. This not so specific. It just kind of but the functionality, we'll kind of read through it together, and we'll learn a little bit as we go along. So the sensor systems. They're a customized combination of robust sensors, biosensors, food tracers that assesses and monitors in real time the product's physical attributes and surrounding down to the individual unit, coupled with a unique ID, smart tagging, and anti-tampering mechanisms, so nobody can change anything about it. The sensor system development is ongoing at the EPFL Innovation Park with financing from the Swiss authorities. Ambrosus is a Swiss company. So it is Euro-based. A lot of the ones I've been talking about before were Chinese-based, like the NEP5 tokens. I mean, but they can be from anywhere, but this one specifically is Swiss. So let's go down a little bit more. Up here, blockchain protocol. So supply chains and quality control require a protocol that is resilient and highly scalable. Commercial agreements are encoded as smart contracts based on quality and safety data generated by senders. Sensors. Contracts will self-execute and any disputes will be resolved automatically with immediate financial settlement and optional dynamic pricing. We're building a protocol on Ethereum, and our core technology partner for the protocol is Parity Technologies. So what they want to do through blockchain is make it automatic. Everything that happens within that system should happen like this. If there's any issues, payment will happen. Any disputes, it should be basically smart contracts. Okay, let's go the next part of it. Secure data storage. Once digitalization of sensor data is done and a certificate is issued, it is important to protect the integrity of the data. Digital attributes are handled in parallel to the product throughout the supply chain. All process readings are immutably recorded in a decentralized, fully auditable manner, which protects from hacking, data manipulation, and fraud. So basically, it comes down to security. If it's about blockchain and its immutability, that's basically what that is. So there's tampering is a little bit at ease there. Next step is developer tools. So to make Ambrosus a thriving ecosystem, there's developer tools and modules to allow community members to build dApps, distributed apps, extensions and protocol upgrades, creating valuable solutions for society, including consumers, farmers, pharmacies, distributors, and business owners. These tools can be monetized instantly through micropayments. Interoperability with the Ethereum-based protocols brings complementarity of services and seamless integration. That may sound like a kind of a mouthful, but they're basically just describing how the system's going to work and how the payments and how it's going to work with the Ethereum ecosystem. So it is on Ethereum. And then lastly, they talk about Amber, and that is the native token of Ambrosus. Amber is used to help trace products through their entire value chain, linking the information gathered to the records about the batch. Amber is also the fuel for the Ambrosus ecosystem, kind of like gas for Neo, for example, used to access the network services, interact with the sensor systems, and to enter commercial agreements assured by smart contracts. Our core technology partner for development of the Amber token is Parity Technologies. They're going to be mentioning Parity Technologies quite a few times through this. But that's the way they've displayed this on their page is really good. I really like it. And on to the rest of it now. So, this is my favorite part about this video. This is going to be the coup de grace. Well, not really. The coup de grace is usually a finisher, but this is really where it comes together. I latched on Ambrosus for one specific reason. Of course, I like the idea, but there's other people doing it. Is there enough room in the ecosystem for all of them to thrive? Yeah, there is. I mean, there's just going to be, especially if you wait. I mean, right away. I mean, there'll be the competition. Some might be weeded out, but in the grand scheme of things, there's plenty of room for multiple companies, especially throwing in like Ambrosus is. But all that aside, the core team. This is where Ambrosus shines like a concentrated beam of photons. So the core team is very, very impressive. Actually, even past the core team, all of this is impressive. I don't have enough time to cover all these people. I don't want to make this video way too long. I took literally an hour out of my day a little bit earlier just to look up all these people. I do it with all the projects I really get into. I got into this today, in case anybody doesn't know that. Wallet Chain I've been with for a while. VeChain I've been with for quite some time. Ambrosus, I wish I would have got in a long time ago. Finding capital is definitely not the easiest thing nowadays. But when I do get some in, and when I do diversify, I go into stuff like this. So Ambrosus is, I've been wanting to do it for a while, but today was my day. Let's continue. Angel Versetti, the CEO. Let's read a little bit about him. He previously worked at the United Nations, the World Resources Forum, Bloomberg, and it was trained at Google. What? Oh, what? I don't want to sound too much like Little John, but just reading that, I'm just kind of already in the zone. I'm already excited. I'm hyped up already. Let's do this. Let's keep going. He was the youngest project leader and lead published author at the UN. Through his partnership, Versetti & Co., he led investments in startups, social projects, and early cryptocurrencies. Angel is a recognized expert and frequent speaker of innovation, technology, and economic development. Davos, Vatican, UNESCO, COP21. Admitted to Cambridge, life brought him to sciences, Paris. He obtained a BA in history, political and philosophy, and MA in public management. Okay. And then it goes on. Let's go to Stephen Meyer. I think it's Stephen. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's Stephen. But let's go to Stephen Meyer for a little bit. In these teams, there's a spearhead like Angel. Okay, he's the first one. But you have to have a guy that really specializes in a very specific part of what they're doing. That's Dr. Meyer over here. Over 20 years of R&D experience in food analysis, ultrasound sensors, and data encryption. Previously, he led R&D projects at Nestle, MHM Microtechnique, and Vitargen Biotech, and also sold 2 projects to Maersk Group and Pro GmbH. He was the founding director of, I can't even finish this. Oh my, sorry, I don't like to get this hype during videos, but I'm getting a little bit. I'm getting a little bit antsy. Um, let's keep going. The CPO, the project manager, and the list goes on. Uh, all these people, like I said, I don't have enough time. All very, very talented, have good histories of working. Some have a background in blockchain, some just in other businesses, but all of them are very, very impressive. And it goes to the blockchain developers and everything else. The team, I can't. This is one of the best teams I've seen in a very, very long time. And I'm a team person. That's what I look specifically at teams. Okay. Then it goes to the lead engineers, the content managers, lab managers, and it keeps going. Okay. This is where it gets really good. The advisors down here, of course, parity. They've mentioned that multiple times. But Oliver Bussman is a strategic advisor. Okay. Oliver is the president of Crypto Valley Association and founder of Bussman Advisory. Formerly served as CIO at UBS, SAP, CIO at Alliance North America and Mexico, in addition to executive roles held at Deutsche Bank and IBM. Some of these people, as you go through this, you might have heard these names before. I don't know I don't know what kind of investor you are. Maybe it's your first time, maybe you haven't. But some of these names might ring a bell for you. Okay? And then it goes to Professor Malcolm Povey, and then Professor Amstad. Once again, a world-renowned expert in food reassurance techniques and everything else. This stuff, I cannot stress it anymore. This team is absolute magic. And that's then it goes more to more advisors over here, and it just doesn't stop. I'm telling you, this is crazy. And this guy does biosensors, and it just keeps going. It does a lot of Twitters and LinkedIn's. If you really want to check these guys out, go on the website. I don't have enough time to do all these. We're not gonna do all of them, but if you do want to, you're in for a treat. You really are. And then it goes down to some publications. We'll go to the white paper in just a second. But they even have a use case on here: Swiss cheese, olive oil. They go in their pharmaceuticals. You can click on these, and you can really you'll really find some interesting stuff on their publication part. We might do that in just a second. And then support and recognition. You'll find the UN over here. Look at all this. Of course, part of the Ethereum Alliance, Bitcoin Suisse. You've heard some of these names, and it goes down, of course, and this is everything they've been featured in. I don't know why they aren't already higher. Okay, they're being not in the top 100. It's not good. There's really good ones under the top 100. Okay, but specifically, from what I've read so far, it's weirding me out. Maybe it's because of they haven't marketed themselves well enough, or because the competition is stiff. Walton Chain's out there and VeChain, that they haven't really focused on this. But there is definitely room for them to grow. The competition is healthy. I promise you. It's healthy. Let's go on. We're gonna go a little bit to the publications, and then we'll go to the white paper. So what I'm going to be speaking about for the next few minutes is just mainly on the white paper. On the website, like I showed you earlier on the publications part, there's quite a few things to go through. The white paper, food sensitive and tracers, some notes on it. Vision paper, use case with pharmaceuticals, Middle East halal food, use case olive oil, use case Swiss cheese. That's where they tell you how they implemented that in their own projects with Swiss cheese or olive oil, and they show you step by step. I'll go over one of them. I'll use like olive oil for example, but then they have analytics, business opportunities, data integrity and transmission, and operation and use cases. It's a lot. It's a lot to read through. And here's the olive oil one. Here's a little bit of their sensors and tracers, and we're back to the a little bit of the white paper. So I'm gonna try to briefly go through it and just hit on some important points. And then after that, we'll kind of wrap it up. But there's a lot to talk about here, and even with the other parts of it, the other publications that they do have, I'll try to just give you a brief insight on those. But I highly suggest, if you do get involved in this program, in this project, check those out. It's super cool. I have not seen this much information on. I think it's the first time I've seen this much on anything besides in the big ones like Ethereum or anything else like that. Ambrosus is they did it very well. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So I've skipped through quite a bit of it. Number one is more of an introduction. Number two talks about the system architecture. It's very technical. I did not want to bore a lot of you guys with it. If you're going to invest in Ambrosus, please read through it. It's got a lot of good points there. It'll get you excited about it, but it is technical, and I don't want to bore you guys or some of you that might not know some of the technicalities of it. It might just be one ear, not the other. Supply chain data is a little bit easier to comprehend, especially for myself. As we go through, so tag, tracer, and sensor systems. Tags would be like a barcode, for example, placed on the outside of the packaging. A tracer is like a composite object that's usually inserted into it. And a sensor, that's something that gets an outside stimuli, like temperature, for example, but even goes to doing, physicochemical properties. But the tracer is one of the parts that you'll see throughout the whole system. But it goes, to implement sensor solutions, quality, safety, logistical conditions. It really goes into everything. So we're going to read it through a little bit of this together, and this part I really want to cover. So specific detection systems are selected and deployed by Ambrosus at various stages in the supply chain to offer the most effective and cost-efficient assessment of each product and each stage. A product's physicochemical structure, composition, and quality attributes may vary throughout the supply chain and must be continuously assessed to verify conformity with standards set by participants in the network. So they're saying like at every single stage there might be changes in it, and there might be things that might happen that might compromise the quality of something, or things that, the worst case scenario things. So every part of it, you'll be able to see it. I mean, publicly, it'll be transparent. And that's pretty much what that says. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. There are several types of sensor systems that can be used to detect a product's physical state. Analytical systems are based on physical methods of analysis, including optical, electrical, acoustical, and nuclear techniques. Biosensors and chemical sensors are further types of analytical systems which may be used to detect pH levels, allergens, and other types of physical properties. Where appropriate, further methods such as immunological and enzymatic techniques or DNA and protein assays are used to assess food. Environmental attributes such as temperature, light exposure, humidity, movement, and oxygen are also recorded. I don't know what else is past that. I think they pretty much take everything into account, like how much it moves, its structure, its DNA. How much light exposure, humidity. I mean, things like are important like that. I mean, even with beer, for example, there's even certain glass they use to that helps deflect some of the photons that go inside of it. So everything really has certain levels that it can be compromised with and where it can affect it, long term, versus like how good it'll taste afterwards when it goes through something like that, so human consumption can be affected. But hardware devices provide a platform to automate the input of data into the system and to create a trusted base of data input. And then it goes to data transmission. Excuse me again. When information is transmitted from a device to the Ambrosus network, the data is bonded to an Amber token, so that's where it's all put on one of the Amber tokens and sent to the network. Common information that may be sent in a data transmission includes tag IDs, location, time, tracer sensors, and gateway IDs, digitized certificates and transaction IDs, product quality and safety attributes, transportation, handling, storage conditions are measured by the sensors, and the producer operability, capability, and workability, and finally the integrity of the detection systems. So it even gets to the point where the systems themselves that detect them, if they're still working properly. I mean, literally everything is taken into account. An Amber token follows a product or batch along the supply chain, acting as a digital certificate that ensures the transparent transfer of information. All prior information can be retrieved at any supply chain stage. So no matter where it is, all the information can be taken even if it's not finished. The diagram below shows how data is transmitted across the Ambrosus network. You have the stationary on-site detection system, the instruments, the quality of the sensor, the surroundings, and the commercial aspect. Goes into the gateway, internal gateway, the API and detection systems, which gets recorded on the blockchain through the distributed storage, back to the user interface, and then it goes online to an application or a DApp, which is a decentralized application, on the network. And so that really explains it pretty well. As we go along, I'll read the rest of it. I think that's the rest and its partners and team after that, which we've already kind of went over. But the data from the detection system is encoded and encrypted at the sensor level using hardware cryptography technology. The encrypted content is then sent to the edge gateway over various local communication interfaces such as BLE, NFC, or RFID technologies, depending on the specific limitations of a particular implementation, e.g. bandwidth, cost, or distance. What they're saying here is they're going to use the most cost-efficient way to do it, or speed, or whatever else that makes it the best for the user at the end. The bundle is then decrypted by the edge gateway, which has low power processing capabilities to analyze basic rules and will only forward product information required by the network. The edge gateway is a device composed of microcontroller with the ability to collect, aggregate, and select data from various devices before performing basic analysis to transmit only the necessary data downstream to another edge gateway or the internal gateway. In many cases, the edge gateway will need to be powered by batteries or energy harvesting and be able to operate continuously for several weeks or months to enable mobile solutions. Thus, some logic can be embedded and distributed through the edge gateways and even through sensors that have this feature. The overall architecture can be adapted by developers according to specifications of each product, supply chain, and application. So that's really the core of what this is, the supply chain idea of it. And it goes past it. What I'm going to show you now is we're going to go back to one of the examples that it gives. I believe olive oil is the one we're going to use. Go over the food sensors aspect of it, but then I'll talk to you about some of what I believe is the future of this, and I guess my own opinion on it, aside from everything else that we've kind of talked about. The facts, I'm going to give my opinion, then we'll kind of finish up. So this is a great example that they used. It's an illustration. What they mainly, I'm not going to read this entire thing to you, but they want to hold fish. Let's say this would be like a boat gets a bunch of fish, catches them, and the part where it gets to, before it gets to the user, or sorry, the consumer of the fish, is they want to make the fish into a digital asset within itself. So what they do is they, let's say right here, they put a gel tape applied on the fish for digital purposes. That's a little, on each separate fish, there's going to be a little gel tape. The CCD camera. The camera is there to verify everything. It sees the fish get put in. It sees like what happens, like if anything's tampering with it, so the camera's constantly watching it too. The integrity of the sensors checks if it's been closed the whole time. So what happens with that box, if it's been compromised, if the seal's broken, anything else, it makes sure that the fish are stored properly. Then there's a box for, the RFID and the GPRS for the temperature and movement, and also has GPS on that. So they try to take in every aspect of it. And of course the patch, and just like they mentioned earlier, even if they do, they can input sensors into the fish. I mean, who knows like how far this will go, but it'll see if they get to the biological part of it. They can see if it gets spoiled, if it gets too warm, if there's bacteria. I mean, this goes pretty far. But it was a good illustration that I wanted to show you guys. It talks a little bit more about how everything within packaging can have its own separate tags, separate system within a whole grouping. So like not necessarily like a whole box of things. They would do each individual part of a larger group, and because I mean in essence smaller portions of something can be compromised. So like I said, we're going to get back to the olive oil. This is a study they did, and just to see like how it can affect one certain product like olive oil. They chose this one because there's different ratings of olive oil, and through the supply chain, where it starts, from picking it to processing it to transporting it, it can drastically change the quality of it. So you end up, getting basically ripped off. Like, the quality of something isn't what you paid for. And they even go down and break down. It's about 70% of everything that you buy in the United States that has, olive oil or includes olive oil. It's not, what they're saying it is, just because at some point it was compromised. And so let's go ahead and get started on this. So that basically what they say, from the farm to the mill, factory, supplier to the retailer, like it can go through various changes, um, like through the transportation stage, like I said, through the harvest, to the refining, and even the storage. They explain that olive oil has different, quality scales. So the highest one being extra virgin olive oil. Everybody that's watching this video probably has, not probably, definitely has bought olive oil before, so they've seen the extra virgin olive oil. That's the best you can get, the best one you can buy. Under that, virgin olive oil. Under that, ordinary olive oil. And then refined olive oil. And then, I might butcher this, lampant olive oil. It's my best guess of how to pronounce that. I've never had to pronounce it before, but which is the lowest quality. I believe that's not even fit for human consumption. And as we go down, it talks about the safety and how it can be affected. So like I said, if it goes to this point towards a lampant olive oil, it wouldn't even be consumable. And these are talking about the parameters of what can go wrong within this process. So the storage through the transportation, it can go through humidity changes, temperature changes. The time can be too long. If there's a delay, let's say there's a snowstorm, and instead of getting there in a day, it gets there in 5 days. What happened in that time being? I mean, has it gone bad? It goes even further. Transportation. How much has oxygen affected it? If you guys don't know, through everything goes through the process of oxidation. If you leave an apple, if you cut an apple in half, leave it there, you'll notice that it's getting brown. It's because it's getting oxidized. The free radicals are changing the chemical structure of it. So, and that definitely will have an effect on the taste, and from there, probably what you're paying for. But it explains every single part of it. It goes all the way to the the DNA of it. So everything can be measured, and which is what this goes down to. And they explain the importance of the high quality for the health, taste, and appearance of it. So it'll look better, it'll taste better, and it'll be a better quality if all these things are done correctly and if they're measured. So you get what you pay for. You're not screwed over. You're not lied to. It's basically a system of trust when you use this. Just like blockchain, it's trust. And they explain the fraud, like I was saying, that 70% of the olive oil in the U.S. is either counterfeit or adulterated. So you're not getting what you pay for. And so they explain a little bit of the challenges, but as we go down, we can see what can happen within the processing. I think, what was that it? Or is it, give me 1 second. Okay, here. So their solution is to use their sensors in these. Was this the one that I wanted to use? Yeah, they wanted to use their sensors to fix these issues. So physical parameters, chemical compounds to be measured. So within this, let's say a bitter taste will be the chlorophyll and the anthocyanin, what would be in it. And the milling, the machine speed, the temperature, and the time. And that would be the aromatic compound, and that can cause spoilage. And so this whole process, and they would use all the sensors that I talked about before through the actual chain of what would happen just through the separation, and then the final, even the final centrifuge. I mean, it goes all the way down. So every part of it, in this example, olive oil, it will be measured through different sensors, and it'll be communicated the whole time. And every part of it will be transparent, so you'll know. And one of the things I really want to get across nowadays is that this is the fad. Well, it's not yet the fad, but there's other fads. I mean, you have non-GMO, no hormones. Everybody's gluten-free nowadays. If you are gluten-free, that's fun. I mean, I'm one of those people that's just like I think it's a huge myth surrounding. Not think. It is. Most 99% of people have gluten's not going to affect them at all whatsoever. But if you're one of those people, hey, you stay gluten free. But what I'm trying to say is that eventually the fad will be everyone will want to know exactly what happened to their food, where it came from, what the process it went through, how it got affected. It will be the future. Organic is what we're all doing now. Whole Foods is one of the leading chains that's really trying to implement this. Everything they have is natural, hasn't been touched by anything, so they're probably gonna be the first ones to jump something on this. You can definitely be assured, and it's because it's immutable, you can't change it. Everything will be, the data will be there for every part of it, and it'll probably say on the packaging. I guarantee you, We're going to have packaging within a few years, and it's going to say, like, you know, approved, used by, you know, the Ambrosus network or whoever, like, you know, whatever company and, you know, system they use. It's like went through the supply chain and was verified, you know, it passed A+ standards. It's going to happen. You can expect it. But this is one of the ways they're going to do it with olive oil. And it was a very good way that they showed it, and olive oil is a perfect example to use. So I hope you guys enjoyed that part. But in just a second, I'm going to talk about, you know, my own opinions on, and we'll go from there, and we'll finish on the video. So finishing here on CoinMarketCap, it's about 54 cents right now. I think it's double since it's come out. Yeah, it's about, you know, 0.18 or so, a little bit more than that, I guess. But it went sideways for quite a while, had that huge bump along everything around December, January, and then it's kind of followed this very similar trend. But right now it's going a little bit sideways around, you know, 0.50-ish. The main thing I want to say about this project that I want to get across is that it's long term. If you were trying to get in on this and you want to quickly flip it, you want to be in here for less than a year. It's not a long shot. It might go, you know, up slowly. I don't think we're going to see huge spikes in this, but this is a long-term play. That's just what it is. If you're trying to do a quick flip, if you're not going to be in this for a long time, not right for you, in my opinion. Who knows? I mean, anything can happen. But the reason why is this technology isn't fully implemented yet. You know, they're not out there. You know, they're not already doing it. The centers aren't active. Like, they don't have active partnerships with. They're not in Whole Foods yet. You know, so it's going to be years down the road before this stuff gets implemented. Okay, that's the first thing to really take into account. Of course, I already mentioned they have a lot of competition, and the competition is stiff. They're very, very strong companies. You're looking at Modem probably being number one. And other ones, the one thing I like about Ambrosus is it's sticking to food, pharmaceuticals, so it's basically consumables. There's other ones that, you know, Walton Chain and, you know, Vita, they might go into retailers and stuff like that. I think Modem is sticking to pharmaceuticals too. But there's other players out there. You know, Wabi's even doing stuff too. RFID technology is going to be huge, in my opinion. It's going to take a while though. So don't buy this to quickly flip it. Probably not the best idea. So, past that, I do want to say that they're going to have to subsidize a lot of what they do initially. So they're going to have to pay people almost, or sponsor them to do it, or not people, but these companies that they work with. These companies are most likely not going to want to throw money at Ambrosus right away. They're going to have to make partnerships, give them great deals, or pay for themselves. Okay? So, before, you know, any of this stuff becomes like the future, before everybody's going to want this on their products, it's going to be a curve that they're going to have to go along with. It's going to be not only a learning curve on how businesses can use, implement, and stuff like that, but how the market is going to react to it. I think it's going to take a long time. Like I said, they're going to have to spend a lot of their money on it. So a big thing that you'll see in, you know, if you've done any investing in the market is, can a business let's say I was in biotech before this, but do they have enough funds to be able to implement that in the long term? Will they run out of money? Because they have a plan on what they're going to do with their money. Is it going to be enough? I mean, only time will tell. I think the team is strong enough to be able to implement, you know, certain restrictions and follow the guides they've set. And be able to hit their roadmap, and really, I think they can perform very, very well in the long term, but that's something to take into account. So, you know, like I said, they're going to have to subsidize a lot of this. And then past that point, this stuff can't happen on Ethereum. It's built on top of Ethereum, but it will have to be on it's going to be on its own private blockchain. Because of that, it's going to be a lot of data that Ethereum can't necessarily handle itself. It will be centralized. There's no reason for it to have for people to do independent nodes or anything else like that. So it's going to be basically them. And when it is centralized and it's not decentralized, a lot of it can become they can change the rules at any point. You know, it's them doing it. They can change the parameters, change the rules. Some of it you know, the transparency of it and the trust might be affected. That's something big to take into consideration. So if you're big on decentralization, and some of these cryptocurrencies, they're not fully decentralized. Ambrosus, I believe, is not one that's like completely decentralized. If you have an issue with that, probably not right for you. But long term, I have bought some, and what I do believe it's a great deal. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? I'll probably buy more even when it goes. I think it might go down a little bit more. I don't like to talk too much prices on this page, because at the end of the day, you don't buy because of price. You buy because of the whole aspect of the coin, the team, what they're doing, the idea, everything, who they are. And I believe that there is value in Ambrosus, but it will take some time. Anyway, hopefully everybody enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, like, comment. I like to see you guys every single time. I'll be making a lot of videos like this. I do one or two a week. I'll probably scale up, start doing 3 or 4 a week. But thank you guys for watching another episode. Once again, thanks again. I'm out here. I'll see you guys next time.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's